Team China just gave Hollywood an earful. A Chinese propaganda outlet savaged the U.S. film industry for the failure of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in China, and also fears that Hollywood's best days might be behind it. Oof. The fifth film of the saga, of course, limped past the $100 million mark recently after about a couple weeks, but that's just not going to cut it for a summer blockbuster, especially one that cost $295 million, and that's way before other costs are factored in as well. This one is going to have to make a lot of money just to break even, and that's not going to happen. But, of course, it's not the only box office disappointment we're talking about this summer. The Flash. Sorry, little cough there. You know, this article is withering, and it's, of course, filled with anti-U.S. sentiment. It's what they do in China. But the Global Times article does have a point. Consider this paragraph. Hollywood blockbusters, especially those released after the pandemic, have visibly declined in quality. Beneath the flashy special effects, the dated universality of the U.S. prevailing values is becoming more apparent as Hollywood becomes increasingly out of touch and indulges in political correctness without knowing when to stop. Classic IPs must be squeezed bone dry before they're discarded. Okay, Chinese-based writers have an agenda. Diminish U.S.-based content, promote state-controlled filmmaking, which of course brims with pro-China lectures. But Hollywood should still give that commentary a look. Then, once the industry catches its breath, because there's a lot of tough love there, start watching videos from some of the most ardent stateside critics on both YouTube and Rumble. I'm thinking Nerdrotic, The Quartering, Pop Culture Crisis, Film Threat, The Critical Drinker, and Call Me Chatto, who, by the way, you can hear my chat with Paul Chatto on episode 176. End of shameless plug. Now, these creators hammer new Hollywood content early and often. They have a blast doing it. They do so with vigor, they shred the stories with overly woke narratives, and the studio types who insult them so regularly. Remember director James Mangold's reaction to rumors that the Dial of Destiny ditches its hero for an empowered Mary Sue type? That would be Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Helena. Here's what he said about that. One more time, no one is taking over or replacing Indy or donning his hat, nor is he being erased through some contrivance, the director wrote. And he never was, not in any cut of the script. But trolls will troll. That's how they get their clicks. Now, on a level, I get that. I get his frustration. You know, to work so hard to make a movie, to go through all those steps, and then someone pushes a rumor around. But maybe you just ignore the trolls. Maybe you realize that those trolls will see the movie as well in theaters, maybe a couple of times. Seems like a better strategy than being more aggressive about it. But that's just me. I don't have a marketing degree. The channels I mentioned are smart, they're sober, and they often break down very specifically why these different films and TV shows aren't engaging with the audience. I want to play a quick sample of The Critical Drinker. His video brims with his signature snark when it comes to Dial of Destiny, but he also shares why that film is disappointing audiences.
Basically, everything that we all predicted when this movie was first announced seems to have come true. It's an overblown, overhyped, and unnecessary sequel to a franchise that should have ended 30 years ago, built around an actor that's far too old for this stuff now, with the unwelcome addition of a smug, unlikable female lead that's clearly being groomed to replace him. Oh wait, I was talking about The Force Awakens.
And that's him being gentle, trust me. Okay, is Critical Drinker over the top in his approach sometimes? Yeah, I'm sure you could say that. Absolutely. Is he wrong? I don't think so. I think a lot of moviegoers are thinking exactly what he's thinking right now. Yet Hollywood's blinkered status likely means these views are kept far away from the people that matter. I'm talking the creators and, of course, the people who write their paychecks, the suits. Are they watching these videos? Maybe agreeing to disagree with some of their conclusions? If not, why not? You know, speaking of Dial of Destiny, did anyone in the room when they were working over the trailer for that film approve of the line that made it to the final cut? Is this the best way to promote a $300 million movie from a uber-capitalist studio?
You stole it. Then you stole it.
No, I stole it. It's called capitalism.
You know, creators can insert any kind of messaging they want in the film. I get that. I would never want to hamper anyone or restrict what they can and can't say. But surely this is a marketing issue. Someone must have understood that sticking that line in the trailer would not only feed the trolls, it would satiate them. All the rumors, all the naysayers about Dial of Destiny would think, oh gosh, Here's another film. It's super woke. They're going to replace indie. It's anti-capitalist, blah, blah, blah. I mean, all you did was put those trolls on blast and saying, hey, maybe you're right about some of the things that are going on behind the scenes. Now, I think Disney in particular should be begging their employees to watch some of, or not all of these YouTube creators. Watch the videos, take notes, talk about it, discuss. As it is right now, the studio is going to lose millions with Dial of Destiny, which underperformed not just in the US, but also around the world. The film's very tiny Chinese box office numbers, man, that was just absolutely destroying any hope that the overseas numbers might save the day, which does happen from time to time. Now, those creators I keep mentioning, they're not frustrated conservatives, and I think that's really important to mention. They're not lashing out at liberal Hollywood. I've talked to some of them. Some of them are apolitical. Some of them maybe lean libertarian at best. These are not just conservative critics. They're movie fans. They're nerds. Self-described, I'd bet. I am too. In the case of Chado, he's a former TV executive who's willing to call out Hollywood for its mistakes, early and often, and of course with a sense of humor.
Perhaps we've gotten to the point where real life is more outrageous than anything a comedy could make up. But something has changed. Comedies, while never big box office, were always a staple of the studios. Comedy is of its time. No one is going to remake The Jerk. Good comedies generally stay in our collective conscious much longer than dramas. The history of movie comedy is so utterly vast as to be unfathomable. Yet it seems to have almost vanished. In the end, it's a very personal thing. Absolutely, someone or a bunch of someones will come along and create a generation of memorable comedy. I just wish they'd hurry up.
Now, conservatives generally bristle at Hollywood. They're promoting diversity and hard-left messages at every turn. They don't care about characters. But you know what? I think a lot of consumers reject this whole notion that we're tearing down these iconic figures. Luke Skywalker, Dr. Indiana Jones this time. You know, we're seeing more unforced errors across the board in Hollywood. And yes, it is often tied to woke overreach, that's for sure. The recent Grease prequel, Rise of the Pink Ladies, got canceled in a New York Minute and memory hold even quicker.
It's not as bad as it seems. These things blow over.
Maybe for you. There are a lot of kids in Rydell who are sick of feeling like they're not welcome here.
I know what it feels like to not be like the others.
We have to think big, really change things. Everyone already thinks we're such bad girls.
Watch out, fellas. It's a girl game.
We're not girls, we're ladies. The pink ladies.
Disney Plus got into this action too. They made a movie called Crater. It's a teenage sci-fi drama. Confess, I didn't see it, but it got yanked very quickly, and now it's off the platform. It was there just a few weeks. Now it's gone. And that reportedly had some progressive messaging as to, again, I can't confirm it, but that's what I heard on several different websites who had seen the movie. Again, you don't have to be a conservative to reject woke storytelling, or even the woke phenomena. Just ask Bill Maher. He's pretty vocal on it.
And finally, new rule, if you're part of today's woke revolution, you need to study the part of revolutions where they spin out of control because the revolutionaries get so drunk on their own purifying elixir, they imagine they can reinvent the very nature of human beings.
Now, of course, the problem isn't restricted to Disney, but, you know, it's the Mouse House. Their failures get a lot of attention. They're the big kids on the block. Meanwhile, we're left with two of the can't-miss summer movies, The Flash and Dial of Destiny. Are they fighting for box office supremacy? Oh no, they're fighting to see which one is going to cost its studios more millions. That's where we are as the summer wears on. Now, fans are demanding Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy's professional scalp, and they've been saying it for some time. She is the symbol of everything that's going wrong with Disney, with Bob Iger, of course, the current CEO. Now, Kathleen Kennedy had that famous shirt, "The future is female." But you know what? Her present isn't very good, and it's filled with box office duds. The bigger problem is clear. Hollywood suits aren't listening to the American people. And of course they should. But you know who is listening? Angel Studios. And they've got all of 2 movies under their belt. Yeah, the folks behind The Chosen have gone Hollywood, and they're producing films now. Their first effort came out a few weeks ago. It was called His Only Son. Very small budget, and it quickly turned a profit. Now, well, they've got another hit on their hands. It's called Sound of Freedom. And it was a movie they picked up at the scrap heap, literally. The movie stars Jim Caviezel from The Passion of the Christ. He's playing a special agent named Tim Ballard, true story, who rescues kids from child trafficking networks. Horrifying. I think you could say he's a hero and that a movie about him and his exploits maybe could hit the commercial bullseye with the right marketing. Well, tell it to Disney. Disney had that film for years. They let it sit on the shelf until Angel Studios somehow snagged it from them. I'm sure there was some sort of deal going on. So what happened next? Well, in less than a week, Sound of Freedom made $40 million. Amazing. Now, the Angel Studios model is all about listening, reaching out to potential audiences, seeing what stories they want to watch next. For Angel Studios, it's about faith-friendly, uplifting tales that make the world a better place, one story at a time. Listen, they're going to fumble for sure, but so far their track record is pretty impressive. Sounds like Hollywood should consider that Angel Studios model, or at least take some notes as well. Or they can listen to Nerdrotic, the Critical Drinker and Company, and again, listen, really listen. I bet you those creators, while it's fun to rag on a movie and to deconstruct them, at the end of the day, they're movie fans. They want to love the content coming out of Hollywood. We all do. I know that speaks for me too. That's why I got into this business. Something's not working in Hollywood. And I really hope that somebody cares enough to try to fix it.